Welcome again to Hey Hey 5 and 5. I'm Larry Levin from the St. Louis Jewish Light. Today we're talking with Brad Horwitz, who runs the Jewish Community Centers Department for Jewish Community Life. Brad, welcome.
Thank you, Larry.
As we know, your responsibilities are very, very broad in your position. But rather than a formal job description, maybe you can help us understand what you do by walking through what a typical day looks like for you.
Every day is different here for me at the J. Basically, the Jewish Community Center's mission is a Jewish mission where we try to help with Jewish identity and engagement. So my role here at the J is really to make sure that we're sticking to that mission in terms of our Jewish values and our Jewish programming. Specifically, I oversee all of the adult Jewish programming, so the cultural arts areas, as well as the Jewish family life. The Halim Mirwitz Center is the name of the actual department that I direct. But more in general, also in addition to programs, I work with all of the departments like early childhood and day camp and Camp Sabra, the adult daycare center, and I help them with all of the Jewish components of those programs. So on one level, some days I'm working, overseeing and staff and working with specific programs, and then in other times I'll actually help with some of the more detailed Jewish components of programs as well.
You're ordained as a rabbi, of course, and you have a master's degree in Jewish education and a great deal of experience. With that very substantial background, you must have some pretty well-formed ideas at this point in your career about what kinds of programs you've seen that are best at building community and have staying power.
I could say that one of the great things about the J and what I love about my job here is when we bring Jews of all different backgrounds and denominations and interests together for certain programs. And the ones that are often the most successful is when people see that they're part of a larger community.
Speaking of community, we hear tons about next generation Judaism, and you've been very directly involved in several efforts in that regard, including the J's former Gesher City program. What kind of inroads do you think are being made in helping to build and retain Jewish identity among young adults? And do you think we as American Jews are being successful in that effort?
I think that we have an understanding of what that generation, how that generation operates, and I think we have a better understanding of what types of programs engage those 20s and 30s. I think as a community we still have a long way to go in terms of actually succeeding in reaching that group.
And one of the connection points that is written and talked about a lot is Israel, of course, and there's been much discussed about what Israel means to current young adult Jews and to Jewish teens in the U.S., and we know about the successes of Taglit Birthright and locally with the Reuben Israel experience. What's your view about the importance of that connection to young adult Jews and how we as a St. Louis and national Jewish community are doing on that front?
Well, Israel is a key component to Jewish identity building, and it's all the studies and research show that if someone goes to Israel on a trip of some kind, a mission, or some sort of seminar, the odds of them staying involved in Jewish life just increase exponentially.
We are, as a community, of course, blessed with this great new building at the J. And I'm kind of curious what the new building means to you in your job in terms of what the kinds of things you can do now and maybe, or envision for the future that maybe you were physically restrained in doing before.
The new facility, it's amazing, and it just makes it much more fun to come to work every day, let me tell you. It's really, this whole project, which, it's not just about a building, it's what happens in the building. And what the building, though, has allowed us to do is it's really brought back so many members of the Jewish community who, for a variety of reasons, were not engaged with the JCC, in the last, 10, 20 years. And they've come back. So in terms of what it really allows us to do moving forward is that it's a space where people feel like it's fresh, it's clean, it's beautiful, and it's also a Jewish space. One of the things that's new about the building, which I'm really happy about and excited, is the Beit Midrash. And this is a space that we didn't have in the old JCC, a dedicated space for Jewish learning, a dedicated space for special Jewish programs. It's kind of a multi-purpose use, so it doesn't just have to be a class, but we've had art exhibits in there, and special receptions, and some groups have rented it out even to like we had some teens from Israel, and they davened and had prayer services in there.
Mhm.
So there's just so much we can do, and that's a space, you know, when you talk about what we can do in the future and what the building will allow us to do. So that's the first thing that popped into my mind, because, you know, one of the visions that we have is that we, you know, increase our Jewish programming, and
Mhm.
that's really important to us, you know, here at the J as well as within the, you know, the Jewish community.
Brad, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Larry.
And thank you for watching another installment of Hey Hey 5 and 5. We'll see you soon.